Hey, I'm Kev Kermasko. Welcome back to MotoGP 19 for the final time, as we are heading to Valencia for the season finale, trying to battle for fourth in the championship, trying to get Canet to win the championship as well ahead of fellow Spaniard Mazia. And we're going the whole distance, 23 laps. We're turning the difficulty down slightly because I get the feeling that I'm going to be very poor towards the end of the race. So around 19 of the season, and to Spain for the fourth time. So we go for a qualifying lap then. Less than 5 minutes remaining. Ramirez at the top with just under minute 48 at that time, so we're probably aiming for low 47, high 46. So not coming to the circuit bikes. That's what you're doing in front. As this circuit's alright one for us, Valencia. We do alright round it. Not our best though. I know you wouldn't have guessed it from the first sector. Very good first sector for us. No, we've locked up the brakes into the right. You've got to be careful on the brakes around it. So easy to lock up. Very technical circuit. So easy to lock up, go wide, lose a few tenths here and there, which really do add up over the lap as we're going massively up. Now, I'm not sure what tyres to lose for the race though, because I'm going soft of course for qualifying. This is us at maximum speed. For the race, do I need to go like soft medium or hard or medium hard? Like we did last time out in Valencia, not Valencia, in Sepang. We're in Valencia now. You can see why we're ending the series. Not just because MotoGP 20's come out, I'm just losing my marbles in this series. It's a shame I got so frustrated with the game I didn't come back to it for like half a year, but oh my god, we're 44. I might have been wrong about turning the difficulty down. I probably should have just kept it 100. Arenas, Fernandez and Ramirez make it through alongside us, as behind that, Sasaki and Masaki together. Good tongue tyre there, as we've got Fanati round out the row, and then we've got Yachenko quite up for himself, ahead of Lopez and Agura. And Perez, Rossi and Garcia on the back row, Bufemos on show again in 29th and Sak in last. Because it would have been nice to actually complete this Pro Career Series. We'll definitely continue it though. In MotoGP 20 with the manager career. I'm not sure if you can do a separate one for just rider career. We'll have to find out once it comes out tomorrow. Yeah, we just could not get our head around like the physics in this game. At first, once I've got this setting down, and coming back to this game after playing Night TTR Man and Supercross games and HGP 29, it's more palatable handling more in this game to me now. Still find it a bit dodgy on the brakes. And the weight thing as well, not being able to control that is very frustrating when you can do it in like every other motorcycle game. So yeah, that should be back, hopefully with MotoGP 20, otherwise I'll be... Otherwise I'll just be, again, disappointed with your milestone. I mean, we are for it with every release, to be honest. You're obviously always messing it about, or just falsely advertising. Like, you're advertising tyre wear for MotoGP 20. It's already in the game for us. Just maybe not for our opponents. We are literally just cruising on this lap. So yeah, hopefully it actually does work, as... Should we do another lap or just qualify there? No point. Even cruising, we're half a second quicker than Mazia and Della Porte, with our teammate leading the second round of Anthony and Mino. So he's sandwiched between his championship rivals. And then we've got Rodrigo leading the third ahead of McPhee and Binder. 2 rounds out the top 10 of Arbolona and Vietti. On the 5th row, Suzuki, Fernandez and Kornfeld. And then Foggia, Ramirez. Disappointing qualifying once again for Marcos and Arenas. As we look at the grid, we're slightly gambling. We're going mediums. Everyone's going mediums apart from McPhee with medium soft. Maybe we're not gambling then. He's got a long race ahead of us. Medium soft for Arbolona, soft medium for Kornfeld, but medium seems to be the way to go. You know, so throughout the whole of this field, soft mediums for lower down for Sasaki, Fanati, and Lopez as they try and get towards the points. And this race in for the back row, soft for Salak. He's going to out the tyres after 5 laps, isn't he? So for the final time, this is rev it up and get underway for 23 laps. So one thing I do like that was added is the clutch control at the starts. Definitely good at that. Now, if you nail it right, it can be a bit overpowering compared to everyone else. So we have like a half-second lead heading towards the first corner. So Porter takes the lead. We're down. Told you, if you snatch a break, he does shoot in the arse. I have no idea how to ride this, being 100%. I'm going to try and not use the rear brake at all. That's maybe why we went down, I'm not sure. We're still just 5 seconds off the lead though, so we're not... So despite the fall, we're not that far back. So I got the 25th of Masaki, got Garcia and Foggia battling hard. So hello everyone. Oh god, got hit by someone. So up the 27th, head of Perez on this home race. Trying to move around Masaki, we're right behind Sanak as well. Young Czech rider in Red Bull Rookies Cup. But stepped up. Supreme's past him. Got a good toe here down the front stretch, up into 22nd as they are Portuguese at Domino, Mazia, Binder up there with Canet. Arbolona rounds out the top 10. We're back with Onshu. Trying to get into that top 20. Fanatiosa battling with us. As to get past Rossi, do we? We get past Rossi and Agora. Oh, almost into the back. Oh, is that Foggia? It is. So up to 18th. As we breeze past Garcia. Like he isn't even there. Then we've got Fernandez next on the list. The result drifting very wide. Don't mind me. As once again, the brakes are absolutely terrible. I'm not sure if that's brakes or tyres. They're just not working well in the beginning. Feels like we're always locking up. That's why when we're making these moves, like we did right at the beginning of this race, we just fell. His teammate does the fastest lap. Delaport is still leading though. Canet in 4th now, ahead of Binder. So you need to get into the points. Onshu ahead of Rossi into 20th. Let's go, great exit. As you get past one of the Petronas Spirited bikes. Oh, Sasaki punts us though. So we're behind the other McPhee, so in a bit of a sandwich here. Sasaki with the punt and run. Not working out for him, though. As we get up to 15th. Next on the list is his teammate. Look how in that line everyone is, though, still. As we're on the third lap here. Once again, get past McPhee, though he isn't even there. As we're behind Tuba, teammate of Agura. McPhee giving us the touch as well. And now we're behind Ramirez. Hasn't made it into the top 10. Normally he's a fast starters, old Marcos. I hope we're not burning the tyres too much by going down the first out of these corners. So you get some acceleration going. As we do the fast lap of the race, we know these are the airport and Aron Canet, Binder. So looking good for Arnold at the moment. We're coming, buddy. There's Suzuki, their teammate Antonetti. Doing his best Jorge Lorenzo impression, is he? As we get past Ramirez, who's having a look at Arbolino, but seemed to got held up there, the Spaniard. So you also have the race at 100%, not just because it's just the final episode, it's also to kind of review it as well. So I talked about the handling model a bit. It definitely improved from 18. I'm just not a big fan of kind of this phase of the handling model. I hope it's much improved for 20. Because once again, Milestone talked a big game. Got to deliver it. I hope it's improving like from Supercross 2 to Supercross 3, where it just got more fun, the handling. You know, you think. Maybe a bit more. There's still that skill gap. Oh, there's much more skill gap in 3 than 2. But it was just more enjoyable. Hopefully that's the case with 20 compared to 19. And Ride 4, remember, later in the year to Ride 3. There's hello, Arbolino. As he's trying to get past Rodrigo into the top 10 as Mino, Delaport and Aron Canet. Bit of a gap to Binder as he did a fast as that 45.8. And Suzuki Antonelli. Cornfield ahead of us in 9th. Great job from the veteran. Let's go up. Rodrigo's got his defending boots on. Blast pass into the left-hander. So he got ahead of the Argentine. Now it's the veteran Cornfield, the Czech rider who's been in Moto3 since it's begun, I think, off the top of my head. So yeah, not a big fan of the handling model and our opponents as well. Like, they had the new Anna AI system. If honest, I didn't really tell the difference from the previous system, to be honest, in this game. Like, even now, there's still... They race you when you're very close, but most of the time, they're just racing each other still. It's still a disconnect between the player and your opponents, which made the game very frustrating to record. That's mainly why I took time off, because it took hours to record a race. And even early in the season, like the retirement and stuff, that's the best I could do against these opponents because of how poor they were. And because of the cycle of games from Milestone, they don't support the games after a couple of months after they come out to get Vietti into 8th. So there's been... So opponents are like no different from when they were ages ago. Oh, hello, Betty. I hear this is cool, but then we get the massive drive out the corner. As Binder's dropped down to 7th now. Behind both the Sync 58 bikes. And a poor exit there, did South African. So you're not really racing your opponents here, you're kind of racing yourself or trying to make it interesting. Which occasionally can happen. Oh, you've had some good battles, no doubt. But then we have races like Mazzano, for instance, where everyone's just on aggression 110%, and it did not go well. So apart from just having, like sim games, apart from just having a difficulty slider, we need an aggression slider as well. Something to temper and control our opponents and make it easier to race them or create races with them. Or just race them. Hope they're aware of us now. I mean, they have, again, Milestone done lots of advertising saying they have upped their game with the opponents. So if you're a quarter of the way through the race, back up to 7th and setting fastest laps. As Anthony sets 1, he's ahead of us. Suzuki rounds up top 5, then Canet. Mazia, there, Porter with Mino still leading. Everything I kind of talk about here, they're rebuilding the game with the new kind of Unreal system, basically from MotoGP 18 upwards. So this is the 3rd year, the rebuild. They introduced a new AO system last year, so it's just talking about improvements for MotoGP 20, really. That's what we need to see. Let's say we're with the lead pack now. It's all poor getaway for Antonelli. You can see our main difference compared to our opponents here is that we've got massive straight line speed advantage because of the delta we got it at, but they've got better kind of braking. That is not a good combination sometimes to create good racing. So Anthony trying to put a battle up here. As he sees his title chances disappear. Unfortunately. So that last race, of course, with that off. And we need to see that more often, like opponents make mistakes, like, and just variation from race to race. Like, you're never static. Hopefully with the manager career, we'll see that. Because we have different ways of developing, and then we'll hopefully see variation in performance from our opponents. Like you saw with like Moto3 when I was reviewing the standings at the end of the last race, like only 15 riders scored points. So every race we had the same rider scoring points. That needs to improve. Because you see in Moto2 with the Triumph engine now there, it's been shaking up the championship. It is probably the most exciting championship out of the 3 now. Because everyone's still learning the Triumph. Learning like the tyres as well with the engine and getting the best out of the package. That's what made 2019 so exciting, because you had these veteran riders, but then you saw riders stepping up like DJ and Antonio, and you saw Bastianini as well, like stepping up for Moto3 and being quite on the pace actually after a few races especially. Because everyone was on a level playing field, so there wasn't as big a disadvantage to step up. And again, we might see that this year with the likes of Canet, Della Portia, if we ever get racing again. Or whenever we get racing again. And we need to see that in the game. There's hello Canet talk of the devil. Now we're ahead of Sync 58 bike, so we can provide a bit of a buffer to them behind for our teammate. So yeah, that needs to happen, see that variation. Hopefully we do see that. In GP20. Or do we want to pass our teammate? I mean, you got the championship 1, mate. Alright. Because Mazzy is right in front. He's not winning. So that's what I like to see. Look at that confidence around the outside carrying the speed. Oh, that's pretty cool seeing that when battling. Doesn't happen enough. That's all poor exit from Canet. Try and dive down the inside, he holds on. As the gloves are off for the Max Racing boys in the season for the Harley. Oh, he did not see the switchback coming. So that was pretty interesting for a couple of corners, and then we had our Mash's straight line speed advantage. Again, it's really my fault for setting the difficulty way too low. So we've got Cornfeld in 10th, battling with Ramirez. Oh, hello, Canet. I hope we haven't shot our tyres. It'd be interesting to see how that works, like the fuel load and the tyres. Because we've had tyre wear, our opponents actually haven't had tyre wear, I don't think. Which is why most people will turn it off. Well, sensible people turn it off. I keep it on because I'm an idiot. But we're ahead of Della Portia. We've only got Mino in front. This could be a very quiet second half of the race, unfortunately. Especially if we dive down the inside like that. And take the lead. So, Mino having none of it. Here comes Della Portia. As he sweeps to the inside of the 3 wide. And with career mode in general as well against our opponents, you said that variation needs to happen. Well, lucky for this season, they're releasing the game early, but then because unfortunately of the pandemic, we haven't seen much variation in the teams and the bikes after just one race or none for MotoGP. So they probably might, base it on testing times then? For MotoGP, and then of course the first race of the season for Moto2 and Moto3. So we start on quite a realistic starting point, and then hopefully it can evolve during the season. That's my big hope with manager career returning. For the first time since 17. One of my biggest series I've had on this channel actually, that MotoGP 17 manager career. So looking forward to it coming back. And for the first time in kind of the rebuilt MotoGP games, so on lap 11 we're ahead of Della Portia, Mazzy, Mino, Canet, Suzuki and Antonelli. We've done the first to last challenge. I lost the first challenge. No, I had it correct the other way around, didn't I? It's on to the tail of McPhee. So apart from the actual racing circuits are modelled alright, didn't it? They'll always improve from year to year. Hopefully there's some improvement with off tracks, as you saw they could comfortably use the green stuff. Again, just have curves as the exit. I shouldn't be able to ride like this and it's fine. Go on. That doesn't happen in real life. Don't change that for the game. Have it like Thailand, where if you go off, you actually feel something on that kind of green concrete or astroturf. That would be cool. So you don't actually want to use it. It's also inconsistent with your curves and with the detection between your bike model and the curves. Which cause in Austria, for instance, in the first corner, sometimes you're okay hitting the curb on the inside. Most of the time you're not, because of the sausage curve. So Hopefully kind of detection hit model is improved. I do like the ragdoll physics we have now with our riders on the crash. Just that the crashes were a bit more even between yourself and the opponents. It's all clinging on to us, this top 7. Like, our opponents are much heavier than us when we hit them. Like, we will go down from a hit. They won't. Hopefully that's evened up. Like, we're a bit heavier as well. Or, you know, they just won't hit us with the improved AI system we apparently have. And that, come on, we should be getting penalty for that. We just used the green stuff on the inside there for the right. That is just straight out abuse of the circuit and track limits there. That's for halfway through the race. Trying to put away here. Feels like the tyres are still good. We should be on our peak performance normally halfway through a race, so hopefully it's the same here. Trying to start using second as well, instead of just first out of corners. And so yeah, hopefully with manager career, they kind of revitalise the career mode and build upon what we've got. As development's okay, but very limited. It's not very interesting. Same with the offers as well. Like between seasons. I hope there's like testing. So apparently there is testing for like new parts. Like testing between seasons, like we already see it already had it this game, but say you want to hire a rider, have them test for you. See what that's like. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I've caught up on their kind of promo videos. I haven't seen that yet from what they said from manager career, but that'd be a cool idea maybe. I know it's a bit old school having rider shootouts or driver shootouts. It's on like 2-year cycles with MotoGP calendars, with contracts, sorry. And they just sign up for the next 2-year cycle now from 2022 or 21 to 22. Oh my god, where are we going? When all those deals are done, for instance for Yamaha right at the beginning of the season, Honda and Marcus are working through stuff, but I think they signed the contracts as well, if I remember right. But most factory teams might wait till near the end of the season or mid-season to make those deals, so it's not often done like that way. But it'd be interesting, because this is a game. Have it done that way? Well, we're slowing down a bit, aren't we? And I've enjoyed this. Is the first MotoGP game I've done in like first person like this video. I do like it, like this. I wish Kiyoton kept this for like TTR Le Mans 2, did it this way, the first person, rather than whatever the mess they've got going on at the moment. So I hope for this view sticks. Maybe go back to what it was like in 18 as well, because I've seen screenshot of what it was and it seemed a bit better in this view, but I've got used to this. Really enjoy riding in this view as well. Adds for the immersion. It's kind of what I do in most cycle games now, apart from motocross or supercross. Because I'm not as good at riding in first person yet in those games. I'll probably do the same in Ride 3 as well, actually, when I go back to that and complete that series. Stay in third person. might just be a MotoGP TT on a man thing in this view, as we had a good lap going until then. Just not being consistent at the moment. So we talked about opponents, about career. All improvement with 19, but need much bigger improvements for 20. Graphics, okay, it's still so dependent on bloom. I don't understand what it is with developers. Why do they want bloom so much? They want to blow out the colours. It's like, we want the game to be colourful, but we do it in this way which really exaggerates it and kind of actually washes out the colours a bit. Like, I've got it turned off. The game looks alright. But then I don't really care about graphics too much, apart from having bloom blinding me. I'm washing out the colour a bit, but the game looks decent without it. Again, there's no real big improvements between games. The graphics, mostly it's done with the lighting. Like, they always, every couple of years, like, going on about how they improve the lighting miles, and I think I've done that with 20 as well, from what I remember from the trailers. So yeah, hopefully with the lighting improvements, it'd be cool to see. Maybe improve how it looks in the wet. Like, the graphics aren't that best in the wet, and performance as well in the wet. It's alright most of the time. Could be a bit better. Hopefully that kind of stabilises a bit better. Like, the game's slightly more better optimised basically for 20 than it was for 19, which again was an improvement on 18, but this is what, their 8th or 7th game 19 for Milestone in this current MotoGP series from them. I know they've been basically rebuilding the game since 18 onwards with the Unreal Engine, but they still have like performance issues like that. A bit worrying to see. So we're really pulling away now from everyone. To just do consistent 44 45s. And their pace seems to be dropping slightly. Also cool seeing rider stamina. Seeing that could affect races more in 20. So that'd be interesting to see. But I'm someone who tends to get better in, like, as the race goes on, like in the middle part of the race onwards. So in the second half of the race I tend to be at my peak. Interesting to see if we have that contrast still. How we do in this game, like, once again you'll see me put away while everyone's slowing down. Because I'm now in my groove, in my rhythm. Which I should be after 16 laps of this race. As you saw, like in Sepang especially as well, in Australia. After falling back or having falls early on, managed to claw ourselves back into that fight at the front. Almost did it on those 2 occasions. So yeah, hopefully the graphics improved the shadows and yeah, the wet conditions. Hopefully physics are improving the wet conditions. Like, it's tricky, but the physics in the wet really highlight how this game is just built about you accelerating properly and braking properly. Not much nuance to the physics system. Like, it has gotten better over the years. But now it's mostly just about accelerating, using the engine braking properly for the deceleration. I know you can't abuse it as much as you could in previous games from what I remember, the engine braking. And so you have this weird issue with like the grip and accelerating sometimes. Like, you see when I'm really pushing, the bike just goes from side to side. Like, you don't have that kind of slip angle or realistic kind of grip when you're accelerating sometimes. And from videos I've seen of previews of MotoGP 20, that's a bit worrying from what I'm seeing as well. Like, it seems like you have the same issues. Because they're introducing, of course, the major kind of tyre wear and trying to improve that. So if we have these issues where, to be quick, once again, you just have to accelerate as quick as possible with the bike going from side to side. Because then I'll probably have to ride in third person, to be honest. And in the wet, basically, you're just riding on glass, basically. Which is a bit worrying. Goes into the 43s, not quite. So now we're doing 44s compared to everyone else doing 45s or 46s. Bit ridiculous. Tyres feel really good though. So what else to talk about with all MotoGP 19? Well, the game modes. Online, they had dedicated servers for the first time. Still didn't see too many improvements with it online. It was more stable, but you still had aliens floating all over the place. From when I tried it, from what I remember. So hopefully the dedicated servers actually do their job. MotoGP 20 provide like stable online connections. Or much more stable online connections. And then we have the return of the historic riders, which is pretty cool. I would like to see the 125cc bikes return, known 250s. That was a good start with the 500cc's and kind of early era MotoGP bikes, basically before this era MotoGP bikes. So it's great to see it's from like early 90s to early 10s. I don't know what you call the last decade. But I would love to see maybe even older bikes from the 70s or 80s. Like we see, for instance, in TT Isle of Man 2 or in like rally games such as WRC8 or Dirt Rally 2.0, that actually pay homage to the past. To varying degrees of success though, like I'm not a big fan of the WRC8 historic vehicles. Especially compared to the Dirt Rally 2.0 vehicles that actually feel properly developed and actually feel like the real things from the past. Like WRC8 vehicles don't really feel like that. Unfortunately, historic vehicles. They just feel like neutered. Very neutered versions of the handling model of the WRC, more like modern WRC handling cars. But then adapted to the historic vehicles and just had in the characteristics of what you expect from those sort of vehicles. Like the Ford Escort, for instance, like very fast in a straight line, rubbish round corners. That's what you get with the handling model, but in a very neutered way compared to Dirt Rally 2.0. But what I found with the sort of bikes in this game, though, I like the 500cc bikes, but very difficult challenge and definitely a bit of a learning curve there. Again, might suffer again with the handling model as well, but at least a bit better attempt replicating the past than WRC8 for their historic vehicles. It's not just a neutered way of the handling model, it actually feels like they've actually changed stuff for all the 500cc bikes. And also for the early MotoGP bikes as well. Bit weird with the rear brake working on some bikes and not working for others though, that took some learning. But yeah, did all right job with the historic bikes. Hopefully we'll see much more of them. I have seen there is much expanded the historic bikes as well, what you can do with them for MotoGP 20, so very much looking forward to try that out. And historic riders as well. So very interested to see how that works out in regards to career. And then we have the Moto3. That's how I had it in. Very strange vehicle to ride. Like you'll probably hear in here, like I'm doing engine braking, but I'm relying on the engine notes. and the sound to hear when I can put like the rear brake on, for instance, when braking. So I'm not looking up. I could put a touch there when we hit the apex, after you hear the last ring out as we change down the first. Don't have that with Moto3. You don't have gear changes, for instance. So engine braking is much less of a thing. But it feels like they did a decent job, the Moto3, but of course we have no comparison for them at all, in anything. It's not like, for instance, say like Formula E, where you got official content for Factor 2, but then you also have mods for Factor 2, a set of Corsa as well. Formula E content, so you got a bit of comparison, you got a bit of a baseline to compare it with, and other electric vehicles as well, such as the Pipe Pete's vehicles in V-Rally 4, or just Teslas and stuff like in Gran Turismo Sport. So you've got like a baseline there to compare all these electric vehicles to. You don't really have that for bikes though. Off the top of my head at least, I think there's a couple in Ride 3. That's it. And again, that's a milestone game with a very similar handling model to this. So it basically feels the same. But it feels like they did a decent job. The bikes, they're pretty fun to ride on actually, once you get your head around how to ride them. But you can't really use the rear brake with them. It is basically just a road bike adapted for racing. So you can't really use the rear brakes on that good. You very much carry momentum, like you do with like a heavy car, like a stock car for instance, or if you're driving like the Ford Mustang in iRacing as well. That's how you ride a Formula E bike, with momentum basically. Same with the Formula E cars as well, but not as bulky and difficult. But yeah, they're pretty good fun. It's a shame we're not seeing more events with them in the real calendar. I know they had in one more event for this year whenever we go racing, if we do. But yeah, they're pretty good fun, those bikes. And then we've got the esports as well. That's heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. Esports was interesting. Finding out how slow I am compared to everyone, which is very, very slow. Yeah, it seems to work well, the format. I haven't heard too many complaints. Of course, there's the cheaters. Like, everyone knows about that. But it doesn't seem to be as prevalent as previous games, like on the leaderboard, seeing all these times that are basically impossible. No matter what you try. But I'd like to see those events fixed setup though. Because you're looking for the best rider, not the best setup maker as well. And I guess with all esports, you still help setups are still an important thing. Apart from all these kind of guest events are doing at the moment, like the virtual Grand Prix and stuff, they do have fixed setups for that. For R Factor 2 as well though, the race. Those as well. But in general for esports, just make them fix that up. That'll be pretty good. But yeah, I enjoyed the esports challenges. They're pretty decent. And in general, MotoGP 19, good improvement on 18. Let down by the AI, let down by the handling in some areas, I find. But I do like the historic, but it's like the historic challenges as well. They got a bit samey, which is a bit disappointing. There wasn't as much variation in those challenges. They don't get onto the final lap of this race. So yeah, I'd like to see more variation with the historic bikes, what we can do if they have challenges. I think they have scenarios for MotoGP 20, so hopefully they mix it up a bit. Because I think it was the MotoGP stuff, it was basically Yamahas and Hondas most of the time. After starting out with great variety, it just came down to Marquez, Rossi, Lorenzo, and Pedrosa. Oh, and Stoner as well, that's it. It's usually those five. And I'd like to see scenarios where you're reversing history. Not just repeating it, reversing it. Say for like instance 2012, making Pedrosa win the title rather than lose it in Australia and Misano. That would be interesting to see. I mean, you've got a blank slate there what to do with the historic bikes rather than just having season championships with these scenarios, and it would be great to see what they can do with it in 20. But overall, yeah, decent game, MotoGP 19. Very much looking forward to 20. Because these MotoGP games are right up there, the WRC games is quite integral to the channel, or the rally games. So, I hope you enjoyed Pro Career. I do apologise for it not lasting as long as it should have. All my frustrations causing that with the game. But I'm still looking forward to 20. Sharing all the content from Manager Career, from historic bikes, from online, and exploring that game as we cruise to victory in the final race of the season. As after 23 laps, 40 minutes, we win by almost 10 seconds ahead of data points with the fast lap by a country mile of a second and a half. Mazda in third, Domino, and your new champion Canet in fifth, ahead of Suzuki and Antonelli with a disappointing end to the season in general, but finale as well with Binder, Ramirez, Vietti ahead of Cornfield, Rodrigo, Arbolino, Onshu from 29th to 14th. It's pretty good at these comeback rides, and Tuba grabbing the final point ahead of McPhee, Sasaki, Garcia, Foggia, Fernandez, Rossi, Fenati, Agura, Salak, Lopez, Arenas, Bufamos, Masaki, Perez, and Yurchenko. So the final standing see Canet win the championship by 9 points. His fellow Spaniard Antonelli in third. We're just 3 points behind the Italian, but 2 points ahead of Del Porto, so we grab fourth in the championship. What could have been if we actually were decent in the first third of the season? We probably could be smiling like Aron is at the moment. Then we got Mino in 6th ahead of Suzuki, Ramirez up to 8th ahead of Onshu in the end, with Rodrigo around at the top 10 by 3 points ahead of Vietti. Then we've got Tuba, Arbolino, Binder, McPhee down to 15th in the end. Cornfield up to 16th ahead of Fogger. I think his best was off the season as well, that 11th. Then we've got Rossi, Fenati, Salak, and Agura scoring points as well. See, just 21 riders scored points. Normally it'd be close to 30, especially in Moto3, where there is great variety and closeness between the whole field. So hopefully we see this improve for 20. Sasaki ahead of Lopez, Arenas, Garcia, Fernandez, Bufamos, Yurchenko, Perez, and Masaki. And in the team championship, Max Racing, over 600 points in the end. As you can see, we're very ecstatic about that. 75 ahead of Best of Capital Dubai, who are comfy ahead of Sync 58 in the end. It really did get spread out between the top three, as Leopard 19 points behind in fourth. And then we've got KTM in fifth, ahead of VR46, Grassini. Snipers hold on ahead of Honda Team Asia, but Green Power into the top 10 ahead of Trina Spode, Spirita Racing. And then we've got Pristel GP as well, scoring points. A Stray Galitza with no points. And Ganieto, Skull Rider, Mugen Race, and Avintia as well.
Undoubtedly, it was a perfect day for him. In addition to the victory, his position also earns him 25 priceless championship points.
Has achieved everything from the race, but not in the championship. We're 2 points away from achieving that top three. As favourite team, Ducati, always. So this is the weird thing about the career options. We can go back to the Red Bull Rookies Cup, even though we've won the championship. That should not be an option after you step up to Moto3, at least after like the first couple of seasons. Plus we've only got one Moto2 offering, so like finishing in the top 5. What the hell? And that's Grassini. And we've got a Stray Galizia with no points, which is really strange. As we join Lopez and Garcia. And again, it's a shame we can't see what happened last season. Like, it would be nice at the end of the season if they just had the screen where you could look at the standings. Dobby, stop looking at me like that. Where you could actually look at the standings and then you can see what happened in the other series. It's a problem with Supercross 3 as well. I don't know why Milestone don't just have a post-season section. Maybe they do for career mode on MotoGP 20, but it'd be great to look at the other series and see what happened as well, because we don't know who won the championship. We know in MotoGP it was Marquez. We know in the Rookies Cup it was Tata, but we don't know who won in Moto2, if it was Alex Marquez or Shirota. But we only know in 3 of the 4 championships, which is a bit disappointing. So I'll continue this, try and win all the championships and series and everything. As you can see, no, it's not even talking about it last season as well. On debut rider Canet in Moto3. Please get this updated as well. I hope it... This is probably a pipe dream, but I hope it changes between seasons. Like, it can have the same quotes, but it might just talk about a different rider, for instance. So, like, Marquez eyes the title. And then for the next season, it might say, like, Rins eyes the title instead, or something like that, just to change it up. Because at the moment, we just have this every season. So one final point, now I always forget mentioning about, and I forgot about Supercross 3, the commentators. So we've got Keith Ewan here, plays Gavin Emmett. He's alright, but he does the same job. It'd be, once again, this is a pipe dream and something I saw in the NFL games, and that's from 2K5 and around the turn of this last decade, where they had like a show where they talked about and reviewed like the action from other games and stuff. It's so cool to see that, maybe in between seasons, to have like a show in between where you can actually make use of the commentators, where they could talk about, oh, this rider won the championship, this rider did poorly, etc. Talk about, oh, this was the best rider of the season, this was the best team, this team fell backwards, this rider went forward, something like that in between seasons. While we maybe check the standings, just a little wrap up or a preview of each season, something like that. I'm not going as far as for each weekend or race like they had in the NFL games, but yeah, it's just something like they have in the 2K games, for instance, as well, for the basketball. But that'd be so cool seeing that. I'm surprised Codemasters don't have that in the F1 games. From what I remember, I don't think they have a commentator. Oh, they have Crofty and Ant Davidson. They talk about the races like as well, but it's still very generalised. I like it a bit more specific like that. Like, not between every weekend, but every season. And then, you know, we can check all the standards and check out everything else as well. So, yeah, that would be cool. But overall, you're a decent game, MotoGP 19. Would I recommend you? Not with MotoGP 20 coming out. As I said, this is a process. This is something that's improving these MotoGP games from being basically rebuilt in 18 up to, I don't know how long they have the license. I think it's the 23, isn't it? Can't remember who's got extended or not. For instance, think of like the Codemasters games. They had them for like 5 years, and then with the new consoles, they basically decided to rebuild them up from 15 onwards. So we're like 5 or 6 games into that cycle, and then now they're pretty good. Shame it's done by Codemasters, and you have all of these bugs and issues with the games, but the infrastructure that they have for the games is pretty good. Codemasters, hopefully see this from Milestone as well, building this up, and it won't turn into, say, their motocross or supercross games where they just don't improve the infrastructure of the games. Like they're doing it with these. Hopefully it continues for MotoGP 20. But I hope you enjoy MotoGP 19 Pro career. I'll be back with MotoGP 20. And I hope you enjoyed the 100% race. I definitely won't be doing that for every race, MotoGP 20. But I might try out some live stream as well. The game over the weekend, but all on release day tomorrow. You'll find out though next time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.